All right. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the show. If you don't know me yet, my name is Mike Asherbrenner, professionally known as the Redneck Connector, proud and humble leader of the Hounds of Business community. And alongside me, y'all should know who this is, the one and only April Wyatt with Living with Intention. How are you today, my friend?
Oh, I'm doing great. I'm so excited to have these ladies on the stage here soon.
My goodness. Folks in the audience, I mean, we've had the kickoff 2 weeks ago with Kindness Worldwide, global female ambassadors, all the inspiration and amazing impact work they're doing. Then we had the privilege and pleasure of having the ladies on last week, right? And now here we go, kind of diving into the next phase of this rediscovery before reinvention, right? Because you're not broken, you're evolving, right? So I wish I'd known that years ago. Better late than never. But before we get started, we're going to roll. Folks, the ticker on the bottom, it's just easier. We got a Zoom event. So all of these live streams are leading up to an event in, let me go ahead and pull the screen up. There we go. So now we have this event coming up March 26th. And this is headed up by the one and only America's Supermom, right? Lachelle Atkins. That's not a moniker. She's got 15 kids in Atlanta, Georgia. I always tease her. I said, 15 kids? That's the Atlanta Falcons. That's not a family. That's a football team. But she is leading the charge. So we're going to have an amazing time. We're going to have giveaways. You're going to be able to meet some of the panelists, get to know them deeper. It's going to be a really great celebration for #SheWinsMarch. So share it with your friends, sign up if it's your cup of tea. If not, share it with somebody who would love it, right? That's what we're all about, sharing good news. You don't have to sell it. You just have to show it. So without further ado, I want to give credit to the amazing lady here with me. And she has an amazing time. This is not where people, give testimonies and vouch. People can't stop talking about these retreats. And so we want to open this up because you only have 6 more spots for these Bali retreats in October.
Yeah, it's true.
Give us a little 20-second. What can they do? And you got a QR code that's bigger than that now. So
I do, right?
Yeah,
I learned from you. So this retreat is for anyone who loves adventure because you need to get yourself to Bali, who loves to connect with other people, and most importantly, not afraid to be in a space and dance, swim in the ocean, go on a waterfall hike, do a little bit of breath work, and just really have some more time to yourself, right? So you can pause and invite that rise into yourself, and that way you have more clarity when you go home. So this is for anyone who is a high-level professional who is just wanting more for themselves. They're tired of the weekend little retreats that just kind of, skim the surface and really want a deeper dive. So please reach out to me, scan that QR code. I would love to share more with you. If you can visualize yourself in Bali, you're halfway there.
Is it for women only still?
No, it's women and men, but so far we've just had women sign up, and that's okay, right? It's whoever signs up, whoever's ready to be immersed in that experience, that's what we're here for.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing that. And because I see it, women juggle like a million hats, families, all kind of stuff. And so they love this and they should. Wanted to give a real quick shout out to the 2 people really pushing this out there. You ever heard that saying, right? Behind every good man's a good woman. Well, we're flipping the script on that in March. So here's a good man, Lead Empower TV, Nathan Mitchell, leading up the charge of the Hounds Media Network. Thank you. He's restreaming this right now, along with so many other great people. And we appreciate you. You're a good man. You're always pushing people up. It's an honor to have you in the Hounds, brother. And this show is officially brought to you by the franchise maven. This guy is as heart-centered as he is high level. He's not a salesman. He doesn't push people's stuff. He helps people find the right business. This guy, I mean, he makes me look good, right? When I send him out, people go, oh my gosh, wow, I can't believe you. Yeah, that's who we run with. So thank you, Greg. You have really saved the day on a lot of folks. And I've even seen him save people in hundreds of thousands of dollars of litigation. I mean, this guy's the real deal. He's a god. He's not a salesman. Thank you, Greg, for bringing this show and pushing up #SheWinsMarch. You're a great man. We appreciate you and love you in the Hounds, brother. So without further ado, I'll tell you what, let's get these amazing ladies up here and have this just impactful and meaningful discussion. What do you say?
Awesome. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
looking to grow your network and your net worth with other high-level, heart-centered professionals? Then grab a seat and your favorite beverage and join Mike Asherbranner, the Redneck Connector. It's time for the Hounds of Business Community Happy Hour.
All right. Look, everybody is here already. April, you are amazing, my friend. We're having internet issues. Everybody's having issues. Cynthia, everyone. But we made it, dadgummit. Universe is loving us. So I tell you what, ladies, before we get diving into this amazing show, for folks who may not know you yet and who you serve, go ahead and tell them what that is. And Cynthia, we'll start with you, my friend. Glad you made it. You had a heck of a day and you were here. You're already a trooper. I can tell.
Yeah, I'm still sweaty from running through airports and barely making my way to Austin. My name is Cynthia Thurlow. I am a nurse practitioner with over 25 years of experience. I am myopically focused on serving women in perimenopause and menopause. I'm an author. I have a book coming out called The Menopause Gut in April. I have a podcast called Everyday Wellness, and I speak on a lot of stages about topics really relevant to middle-aged women. And so I feel like my passion in life, other than being a wife and a mom, is really serving women in this very vulnerable stage in our lives where there hasn't been a great deal of focus. And certainly for myself, candidly, 10 years ago, I left traditional allopathic medicine and started my own practice because I was so frustrated with the traditional allopathic system. And so now I have my own functional integrative practice, and I really get to serve women at a higher level. So that is me. I'm not normally so sweaty, but this is what happens when you don't have time to change before you jump on.
Well, first of all, when I'm the host, you're in good company. And second of all, we just appreciate you rushing through there to be here. And I love what you said, folks. We're getting started quick. She didn't like what was happening out there, so she did something about it. Woo! You're in good company with that. And that leads us straight over to Lisa and Hammond. Thank you, my friend. My friends are your friends, so I'm finally glad we're becoming friends. So tell us what you do and who you serve, my friend.
Thanks, Mike. I'm Lisa Hammett. I am a certified positive intelligence PQ coach. I know that's a mouthful. Call me a mental fitness expert. I'm also a keynote speaker and trainer, and I'm the best-selling author of the From Burnout to Best Life series. And I am on a personal mission to obliterate burnout in healthcare and HR. And I primarily speak to audiences in healthcare and HR. And I help them when they reach a point where they just feel like they've hit a wall, they're stuck, they're stressed, they're burnout, they're overwhelmed, they need change. And oftentimes they don't know what to do, or they're afraid to do it because it might not be so pretty on the other side, or they might not, maintain their income. So that's me.
You ladies are so humble. I want your autographs, and yours over here like, it's another day at the office. I love it. So thank you, my friend. And that leads me to Jennifer Thompson. My goodness, so super mom. We just talked about Lachelle Atkins and the celebration, March 26th. She got this whole explosion going. Lachelle introduced me to these amazing ladies, you and your partner, Jade. I Am Magazine was primarily for women. I'll let you, I don't want to spoil it. But boy, it was like PB&J in the same jar. I mean, it was insane, right? Like we just took off. We did a men's lounge. So before I spoil it, take it away, my friend.
Thank you, Mike. I am so excited to be here, and I want to welcome everybody to this conversation. I am the editor-in-chief of I Am Magazine, which is a digital magazine that is distributed worldwide. Here is where we help you tell your story and turn it into a legacy, as well as giving you international recognition, because everywhere where there is an internet connection, our magazine is being read. So I invite you to take a look at that. I am also the author of a book called Who Moved My Estrogen and Other Midlife Plot Twists. Is my way for coping with this midlife crisis that I had gone through. And I laugh a lot. So as you can imagine, I laugh through it as well. So
and you laugh at easy jokes and goofy jokes. So that's why we get along so well. Even when I tell bad jokes, you're still laughing. That's all it takes for me to go. Yes. So I appreciate you ladies. Let's get going. And folks in the comments, right? This is your time, right? Everybody's busy. We have kids and things. We're running through airports to show up to shows, lots of things. So I'll tell you what, Hey, ask questions. We're going to do our best to put them out there as much as we can. Network with other birds of a feather. That's how business is getting done without, selling and all that stuff. And appreciate you being here, y'all. So let's get at it. I'll tell you what, I'm going to throw a panel question out here because I like that. When high achieving women say they feel off, right, in midlife, what oftentimes actually is happening? What do you see in your own life and your expertise of working with others or in your own experience? Cynthia, we'll start with you. What usually, when they say I feel off in midlife, what's usually
Well, I mean, my nurse practitioner brain is automatically going to be thinking about what's changing physiologically for women in perimenopause and menopause. So we have declining hormones, we have alterations in neurotransmitters, we have body composition changes. It really affects the way that we perceive the world as a whole. And so when women say to me, I just don't feel like I know myself anymore, it is really a reflection of how profoundly powerful the hormonal changes are vis-a-vis changes in alterations in neurotransmitters. So it can impact our mood, it can impact digestion, it can literally impact our perception of self. So it is not just a physiologic change, it is also a spiritual and mental change. I like to say that perimenopause is a litmus test for how well we take care of ourselves as women. And I oftentimes will see women saying, for the first time in my life, I'm prioritizing myself. I'm no longer a people pleaser. I found out I don't like my spouse. I don't like my partner. I don't like my job. Suddenly, women feel that they can really step into their purpose. And it doesn't have to be that dramatic. I'm just giving you examples. But I think for a lot of women, it just gives them opportunities to show up differently. And that can be uncomfortable. And a lot of times when people say, I don't feel like myself, it's really saying like growth is sometimes scary and growth can be uncomfortable, but growth is something we should embrace because that is what allows us to grow substantially.
Absolutely. And before I ask the ladies the same question and let them chime in, I got to ask, I'm curious. I mean, I have a house full of ladies, so I'm taking notes while I'm kidding. Don't invoice me, right? But it's curious. Is this something that often just creeps up? It's not obvious to a lot of people, right? It's like, well, maybe I'm off, or maybe this, or maybe it's depression, maybe it's winter. Is that usually a thing, or is it like, is it taking a long?
Is. Yeah. And I mean, I'll be totally transparent. I trained at arguably the best medical institution in the country, if not the world, and nothing prepared me for perimenopause. My mother, my GYN, my girlfriends, none of us talked about it. There was a lot of stigmatization. 10 years ago, no one was talking about perimenopause. Thankfully, that's changing. But I do think that the more we talk about it, irrespective of whether you're a female or male watching this, you probably have a loved one that is going through this right now. And I jokingly say that God has a sense of humor because while I was going through all this, my kids were in puberty and my parents were getting older. And so you get to watch the whole constellation of the process of development across a lifetime. And you just start to realize that we need to talk more about it so that we normalize it, so that people get the help they need. And let me be very clear, there are still women who need medications. They need antidepressants, they need anti-anxiety agents. There is zero shame in that. What we really need is conversations at an earlier age so that women are starting hormones, if that's appropriate for them, while their hormones are declining, so that they're not spending years floundering. Like the saying is usually, we're just surviving. No one wants to spend 2/3 of or a third of their lifetime just surviving. We want to thrive. So my hope is that with these conversations that more men and women will understand so that they can support their loved ones and even advocate for themselves, because this BS about women suffering in silence, that was my mother's generation, and we don't need any more of that.
Hey, well, let me encourage y'all if you still think that's happening. I get an invite to a menopause event once a week, so it is no longer a taboo subject. And thank goodness I'm the connector, right? Because now I'm like, oh, okay, well, you need to meet her. Or, I'm like, I'm over here doing my thing. But you're absolutely right. And men, we don't need to run from it. We need to lean in and understand it better. So if you're a man watching this and you have any females you've worked with or in your house or whatever, hey, you're smart. Okay. You're my kind of guy. So thank you for that, Cynthia. Let me move. You're welcome. Lisa, let's go to you. What is your perspective? Because you bring a different, all you ladies bring a different angle to this. This is what I love about it. So it's not right or wrong. It's just some of you have went through it. Some are experts. Some have, so what's your take on this? High achieving women say, hey, I feel off, and they're in midlife. What's oftentimes happening?
A lot of it has to do with confidence, and it's a mental thing. Cynthia talked about that. It's I hate to say this, but it's reality. It's age discrimination. When you reach midlife, and there's a lot of go-getters who are younger than you in the workplace, and you start to feel insecure and your body's changing and you're not feeling yourself, you start to doubt yourself. And once the mindset goes, it can really destroy your health, your well-being, your productivity, your relationships with others. I think so many women are afraid to be vulnerable about their self confidence and, the way that they're truly feeling, because they don't want to be perceived differently in the workplace. And they certainly, if they're in a male dominated workplace, which healthcare is, and I talk to a lot of leaders in that area, it can be challenging. So I would say that's one of the big things. And yes, we do need to talk about it. We need to find our tribe and have those conversations, because we're not alone. We're not out there by ourselves bobbing around in the ocean.
Absolutely. And that's why it's an honor to put you ladies up here, because people want help, right? They just sometimes don't know, embarrassed. It's one of those things. And that's what we need to break. We're like, hey, you're not weird. You're just going through something, right? Everybody's, So I love this. Jennifer. All right. So you even wrote I love the cover of your book, by the way. It's great. So yes, ma'am. So please chime in on this.
All right. Well, I agree. Hormonal things have a lot to do when we are feeling off. But one of the things that I notice as I'm getting there, and I had my insides removed, my uterus and everything removed very early in life. So I went through it very soon. It hit me then, but what really hit me was when my kids started growing up. They left, things. I had more time in my hands. They didn't need me as much. Now it's like I'm an adult. I can fix my own food. Now I can do my own laundry. Leave me alone, So you go from these needed person for everything. You are the chief sock locator. You are the chef. You are the therapist. You are the love connection, the shoulder they cry on. All these things. Your husband needs you for, where is his socks, his favorite socks? Help me pack. All these things, and all of a sudden you got, everything disappears. And you're going through these crazy hormone changes. You're having all these mood swings. You're feeling inadequate because you've lost yourself in the process of life. You've lost the original Jen, the original person that had all those dreams, all those different goals in life, and life started giving you all these other responsibilities, and you step up to the plate, and all of a sudden they're taken away. And there you are, like a deer with the caught in the headlights, opening eyes and going, now what? What do I do? Do I need to reinvent myself, or I need to rediscover myself? So that's very important to understand, that on top of your hormones, there are external situations that are influencing your life at that point. And let me tell you, I don't know about you ladies, but I am very happy with my happy pill. It keeps me level. It keeps me, I've always been happy to begin with. But I have to say, you said some people need a little help. I was one of those people that I needed a little help, because I could feel that my mood was changing. And I've never been the angry kind of person. I've always been very laid back, laughing about everything. Everything's a joke. Everything is light for me. And all of a sudden I found myself angry. So what do you do? Are you going to just sit there and pretend nothing is changing? No, you seek the help that you need, and accept that things are changing, and just laugh about it, because like it or not, it's here. It's here to stay. It's not going to change. So might as well just find a good way to cope with it.
You see, I love that what you happen to share because we look at it in silos, right? We look at a lot of things in silos, like, oh, well, menopause, biology. But you're saying this is happening for a lot of women at the same time kids are leaving and career changes. And, and in the hounds, we see a lot of reinvention. We got ladies leaving corporate after 20 plus years. And think about that. If you think about that, my gosh, I'm sitting there going, woo, I'm glad I'm a dude. Like that's a lot of pressure. You're going through all of these things like life and biology and just your courage to open up about this from your framework. I can imagine how many people that watch now and watch later will go, oh my goodness, thank you. Right. Like permission, right? Like, hey, I'm not alone. It's all women are going through this at some point. So real quick, I want to now take liberty with this, ladies. What's the difference? Because we're talking about fundamentally, generally, two options that, a lot of folks just struggle and suffer in silence and just not knowing and not having resources. So that can lead to burnout, right? Depression, a lot of things, I imagine. And then, or other folks, it leads to an evolution, right? Which we're talking about here, right? This reinvention, rediscovery process. So however you like to chime in, I know it's very general, but I'm going to go with Cynthia because this is her wheelhouse. So we're going to let you go. Well, what do you see? What do you want to shine light on when it comes to either I can go down this path or, hey, I can turn this around?
I think it's internal resilience. I think that's really what we're speaking to is for those of us that, go through challenging times. I jokingly say, I know that my childhood trauma in some ways serves me well as an entrepreneur because I know that I just kind of buckle down and focus until I can kind of process what's happening. But internal resiliency is something that I think is critically important for us to embed in our children. And it's something critically important as adults to embrace because that is a huge differentiator. For me, I'm always a problem solver. I'm married to an engineer and he's always a problem solver. It's just part of our personalities. It's something that can be learned, but intrinsically that is part of who I am as an individual. So I'm always searching for solutions, even if the solution is as simple as you're going to get your butt out of bed and you're going to look for a resource that's going to be able to help you or serving as a resource for someone else. I think on many, many levels, because of whether it's social media, because it's, imagery that we are inundated with on a day-to-day basis. I mean, we're growing up in our children are growing up in a very unique environment, but we as adults are evolving in an environment that humans have never had to kind of respond to. And so I think internal resiliency is kind of at the core of my mission as a human being. And I think that is a big differentiator. And I can tell you, after working with probably over 100,000 patients in the past 25 years, the differentiators of people that go through horrific things far more substantial than I've ever experienced, and be able to rise and move forward has to do with that internal resiliency piece. Maybe not everyone is intrinsically born with that, but I'm just by nature a feisty person. Ask my husband. I saw the comment about if your marriage can survive menopause, you've got a pretty darn good marriage. My husband would agree to that. But the point of why I'm sharing this, and I hope that other people find it inspiring, is that resiliency can be learned if it's not already intrinsically part of your personality.
I love that. And yes, absolutely. And yes, your husband, he might need to write a book because I might have to read it. Yeah. Hey, do that. But I love what you just said there. You're saying, correct me if I'm wrong, before we move on to Lisa there, any positive baby step action is good action, right? Our brains say, just shut it off, blah, blah, blah. But you say, no, I'm going to go find a book, talk to someone, watch a video, do some positive action, even if you don't know it's going to help you. Right. Right, Lisa? Right.
Yes.
What's your experience in this? Like, so the difference between burnout and evolution, right? You're going left or going right. What is your experience and insight on this?
Well, having been through burnout, I mean, I was in my worst place in my entire life. I'm just going to briefly share, I spent 26 years in the corporate retail sector and I reached burnout and I felt like I had slammed into a cement wall. I was done. I was 65 pounds overweight. I was on the fast track to divorce. I was unhealthy. I was depressed. And I was at the lowest point in my life. And it got to the point that, okay, something has to change, because I didn't have this resilience, that yes, it's great if we have it, but I had reached rock bottom. So, I just quit my job, which I don't recommend because it led me to bankruptcy down the road. But I share all that because it can be prevented. And if you can manage stress and you can manage these mood swings from the hormone imbalances and life changes, you can develop that resilience. And that's why I was so drawn to mental fitness, because it's a perspective. It's being able to look at a challenge from the lens of what is the gift and opportunity. And if you can't see that particular gift in a really difficult situation at the moment, then you accept it for now, because most often you can't change it, and then you convert it later on. But it's really adjusting, that mindset. And it takes these small, consistent efforts. And it can be, in mental fitness, it's micro meditations. It could be practicing gratitude. Yes, it could be listening to uplifting podcasts. It can, reaching out to a mentor or somebody that you trust. But if you're at that point and you just feel like you are drowning, you have got to make a change. Get help. Get help.
My gosh. Okay, people in the comments, y'all know I don't say stuff just to say stuff, but the courage on you ladies, and I love it. You're not saying, hey, we were just perfect and everything was easy. You all overcome some stuff. I mean, it's insane. So I wanted to make that point, right? That you didn't have a silver spoon, didn't come easy. I've just heard constant overcoming, resilience, challenge, right? You knock one out and then you got another challenge, and then, you just keep doing that. And I want people to be inspired by this, because if you can do it, guess what? They can do it. And you all have resources for, at least, so that's what don't leave, because yes, we're going to share this, because I know people will be like, where is the resources? So Jennifer, cap us off with this, because I'm going to get into a round robin and dive into each of you ladies and your expertise. But what is this for you? Because I know you work with 200,000 viewers, readers, multiple women going through multiple phases, and yourself. So what is your take on the burnout and the evolution there?
Well, personally for me, burnout leads you to looking for reinvention. And I personally believe reinvention is exhausting. It's a cliche. It's trying to do new things. And when you take this burnout and instead of trying to reinvent into something new that you've never done before and start rediscovering yourself, the things that you used to love, the things that you enjoy in life, the gifts that are naturally given to you that you have put away because life happens, and you start reinventing yourself, then you can cope with this burnout much better than if you're trying to create something new just because you're tired of the situation. And in reality, you're tired of the situation because that's not you. The real you was buried in responsibility, in expectations, in social, what is it called? In social expectations that were put upon you, not that you needed them. You bury that person. So when you start rediscovering yourself, that's when you can cope with that, when that burnout much better. And it's not a reinvention. You start doing the things that you actually enjoyed, and you can become successful in things that you actually enjoyed because you've always had that with you. You just have to bury it. Simple.
And I love the example you told on the previous show, where you're just trying to enjoy retirement and flipping light switches on and off. And then Jade comes along and is like, we're going to do a magazine. And you're like, listen, I'm trying not to work right now for the first time in my life. But guess what? You did it anyway. And you have not stopped. And
I'm enjoying it so much because, although I love sewing and I love the arts and I love doing a lot of different, artistic things. And that was who I was to begin with. I think what I'm doing today also ties up with the artistic part of me, doing the advertising, doing the magazine, doing all those things, has brought up the creative part of me. But also I feel so fulfilled because I'm helping other people find that is not reinvent, but rediscovery of who they really are.
Absolutely. And you're surrounded by people doing that. That is remarkable. So, real quick, let me go to Cynthia. All right, we touched on this a little bit, and I want to dive in if we may. All right, correct me if I'm wrong. You talk about midlife as a power redistribution, not decline, right? So, what does that actually mean biologically? You talked about it a little bit. If you want to elaborate, what and why is this the first time most folks are hearing about it? It's not explained this way. At least I never heard it.
Yeah, I mean, I think because I just finished writing a book, it's just fresh in my mind and I'm talking about this so frequently. So number one, there's something called perimenopause, and that is the 5 to 10 years preceding menopause. I think everyone listening is probably familiar with the term menopause and andropause, which is what men go through. That's a little less dramatic. But women start with a decline in hormones, usually in their mid to late 30s. And this is a time when women are probably raising children. They're probably not yet settled in a job. They're trying to make sense of their change in identity as a mom. At least I certainly did in my 30s. And so with this decline in hormones, it starts with progesterone. And why is this relevant to share? Progesterone is intricately interwoven with a very important neurotransmitter called GABA. This is our main inhibitory neurotransmitter, which is the one that calms us down, right? It's the one that makes us relaxed. So with this decline in progesterone that we start seeing, we see more anxiety, more depression, more sleep issues. And then it coincides and it buffers up against alterations in estrogen. Estrogen can be 20 to 30% higher in perimenopause, which can drive a lot of the symptoms that my patients complain the most about: heavy cycles, breast tenderness, weight loss, or weight loss resistance, which is a huge pain point. And it also impacts serotonin. Serotonin's another very important hormone that impacts our ability to interact with our environment, also impacts sleep. But interestingly enough, it's a hormone, as it starts to decline, makes us irritable. So you have these kind of mood changes that are superimposed on top of hormone changes. And so when I think about power redistribution with that loss of estrogen, estrogen is a people-pleasing hormone. If you look at a woman's menstrual cycle before they go into perimenopause or menopause, when are they most likely to want to have sex? When estrogen and testosterone are at a certain peak in their cycle. It is a coupling hormone. It's a hormone that allows for us to procreate. And so I remind women that suddenly when they're losing estrogen, they will feel like they have found their voice. They feel very much their authentic selves, even if it makes other people uncomfortable. I'll use this as an example. I went to, a pretty amazing place to train. I had an amazing job. My parents could not get over the fact that I walked away from a very well-paying job because I just didn't have my heart in it anymore. And so I kept saying, there's something about that loss of estrogen that forces you, I use it as the litmus test, forces you to really look very closely at your life. Are you happy with your job? Are you happy with your life? Are you happy with your significant other, your friendships, your kids, whatever? For me, it was very clear that I was so unhappy in my job that I needed to make a change. Not everyone needs to do something quite as dramatic, but the point of why I'm sharing this is you suddenly find your voice, which allows you to show up differently in your personal and professional life. When I was a nurse practitioner, when I was younger, I was very affable. Everyone loved working with me because I was such a people pleaser. I feel quite confident that if I worked with the same physicians and other nurse practitioners, they probably wouldn't see me that way now because I found my voice. So when we talk about power redistribution, I think a great deal about women finding their voice and advocating for themselves in some instances in the first time in their lives. And that is powerful and terrifying. It is powerful and terrifying for our loved ones who maybe were accustomed to us shutting up and not doing what we wanted to do, doing what they wanted to do. And again, I go back to if your marriage survives middle age, it says a lot about your partner. And it's not because you're not accommodating. It's just everything recalibrates. And so your relationships with your parents may change. Your relationships with your spouse may change, your kids, the people that you work with. And I think that's a good thing because I think you show up very authentically in middle age. I don't think I knew who I was probably till I was 45. And now I can say, now I'm doing the work I'm supposed to be doing. But that hormone change and those neurotransmitters change really impacts us significantly.
Well, that last comment made me feel good. I'm almost 45 and I'm sitting there going, I'll just figure out what I want to be when I grow up. And
Yeah.
the hounds are like, yeah, let's do it. Yeah. So, or we just flip script. And I'm a child of the 80s. So thank you, Cynthia. And ladies, I want you to chime in before you go. And I ask you your questions if you like for a few seconds. But, I was a child of the 80s. So it was all negative. You never heard like, oh, it's menopause. Look at me. I can reinvent myself. No, it was like, and so you saying that is just, it's got to be freeing. I mean, I can imagine. Oh my gosh. We'll make short videos and just to make sure people get it.
The joke is, if you want to get something done, can I say shit? If you want to get shit done, have a middle-aged woman do it, because we don't care about it. Well, like, we were kind and we're good people, but I don't care what anyone thinks. I'm like, I really don't. I'm going to do what's best ultimately for the greater good. And you just get stuff done because you're not encumbered with, what does so-and-so think of me? Oh, I don't feel quite so secure with myself. It's like, you know who you are, you know what you're doing. You're not encumbered with all those like feelings of worrying about everybody else. It's like, no, I know where I am. I'm confident. I'm a good person. I'm kind. Therefore, I don't have to worry about all that other stuff.
My goodness, you're in good company. Look at the in the comments. I'm looking at it like, man, this is like strong women said. Thank goodness I'm used to it. I don't know how many men can handle this, but yes, good for you all, because I love this. I just, people are struggling and they think they're the only one, and then they hear this and they go, ha ha. I've got, this ain't the end. This is the beginning. It very much it should be. So, Jennifer, yeah, you've been quiet. Okay, go. If you like to chime in on this for a few seconds, go ahead. And then I've got a question for you, my friend. You don't
All
have
right.
to, but.
Well, I agree. The power of the redistribution, it is very true. But one of the things that I wanted to say is, like, when you go through this change, you begin to accept that it's okay to be you and not to pretend anymore. And you don't have to do things to please other people. You start taking care of yourself all the time. And it's funny, this weekend I was talking to my husband and he's like, do you mind? I don't even remember what it was. Do you mind if I do that? And I said, oh, if you want to. I mean, but I don't want to upset you. And I was like, honey, I will let you know if I'm upset. Okay, you will not miss it. You learn to assert yourself so much better. And you no longer have to please people or keep your mouth shut just to make somebody else happy. Not that I ever was good at that, but my point is, if you were ever somebody that was too quiet and put up with a lot of crap, this change will get you over that hump. As long as you accept it, embrace it, and love yourself for who you really are.
I've got to ask this before I forget it. So you work with a lot of women. I mean, the women on the magazine and all these things, they're reclaiming their voice and identity. So in your opinion and experience, why do so many high level women feel pressure to become someone new instead of kind of reclaiming who they already are, or kind of, this rediscovery or reinvention? Why is that?
They forget. It's easy to forget who you are. If you think about it, there are societal expectations, beliefs, and lies that we put in our brain, and then you get to this point and you're thinking, oh, I have to do something new. What is it? Instead of looking inward, you're looking outward. And when you start looking inward and start deciding, okay, well, you know what? When I was younger, I was really good at writing. Maybe I should write a book. Or when I was younger, I really enjoyed art. I'm going to take an art or start with pleasing yourself. And I think that's when you start finding yourself, is when you start doing things that you like. Take a ballroom dancing class. And all of a sudden it's like, I enjoy this. I remember I used to do this, or I used to be good at that, or I used to be a good, I used to cook desserts that were fantastic and my whole family liked them. So maybe I should start doing desserts. I have a friend that started baking sour bread. And I was like, sour bread? I mean, you could buy these in any store. Not hers, let me tell you. I will drive 20 minutes to just pick up her bread. So you have to rediscover. She had always done this. When she was growing up, her grandmother and her used to cook. I have another friend in Ecuador who has won several awards in YouTube for Tasty. And during the pandemic, her business fell apart. And the only thing that she had left was this cookbook that she used to cook with her grandmother. So what she did is started doing videos in YouTube with these recipes. And she never went back to her old work. That's all she does. She's successful on it. She is so good at it. But because instead of, trying to find something that it's not her, she started looking inside. What am I good at? What do I love to do?
Lisa, I'm going to go to you. I'm going to piggyback off of that because that makes sense. I hear this a lot in different ways. Does burnout either create or kind of, get you more stuck in the mud when it comes to identity confusion, right? So you were talking about, hey, why don't you do this? But if you're already in a burnt out state, now all this biological stuff's happening, does burnout create identity confusion in this regard? Like, does it muddy the waters? Like, what's your experience here?
It absolutely does. I mean, I coach women and men actually, but we're speaking about women in midlife, and they're lost. They're totally lost. Although they wish that they could do certain things, they're lost. A lot of times what I see is there's a big misalignment between core values. What is most important to you in life, actually in all areas of your life, that gets lost in the mud when you allow, a toxic environment to overtake you. Then you lose yourself in that process. And oftentimes your core values just go by the wayside. And then you hit rock bottom and you realize, okay, something totally has to change. And when you can go through, a positive transformation, then you can start looking at a vision and changing your future and rediscovering, those core values and aligning them with what you're most passionate about and your strengths. But, toxicity, I deal with this a lot. There's a lot of toxicity in the workplace, and it just depletes you. And it is very hard, not just for women, but also for men, that just feel like they're just in this grind and they have no way out. So I'm going back to the thing that, you have to get help. You have to seek help in some regards.
Yeah. And if any men are still here, Dr. Jeff, and I know, Nathan, he pipe up. Do you have a new profound appreciation? Because I'm just sitting here thinking, my gosh, that you're going through something you're not sure about biologically, right? Kids are leaving. Then you're wondering if you're questioning your values and all of this stuff. I'm like, my goodness, woo! It's like when I was in the delivery room. Yeah, I was like, okay, I thought I knew strength, and I'm like, I get a paper cut, I'm out. Now I'm like, whoa. Same kind of thing. And I think that's important for men to be here. And men, thank you for being here, right? Like Cynthia said, the lady said, we need to be able to understand and better support. It's a two-way street. And I truly believe that. So Lisa, we're going to keep you here because I want to ask you yours. Your turning point, again, in your words, correct me if I'm wrong, wasn't reinvention. Again, it was recovery. So what's the difference here? And how do folks, if you're confused, what are some things you can kind of zoom out and go, okay, let me evaluate, right? Because I know when I'm in the middle of something, I'm in the middle of something. So how do we kind of zoom out and go, okay, is it reinvention? Is it recovery? Where am I?
Well, if you feel stuck and you're not operating at your best self, you're not there for your family, your health is suffering, your productivity has suffered. I mean, you have to make a positive change. It has to happen. So you have to have a reset, because you can't reinvent yourself until you really you have that significant reset. And, like in my case, I went through a significant weight loss journey, and then I became a wellness coach. And then I realized that, you know what? There's so much more to life. And then I fell in love with behavioral science and, went down that path. But, yes, reinvention can happen, but you have to do the reset first.
Absolutely. Do me a favor, April, if we have any questions that we want to bring up or anything, it looks like it's good because I wouldn't know. I'm the guy. But April, you know what's happening. So if you want to pull up the questions, and while we're doing that, we wanted to do this last week and we weren't able to with technical difficulties. I want to spotlight two ladies that just stood out. Number one, right here, Lachelle Atkins. We got to give her love. That's why I had her on the radio show. She has really poured in so much time, so much effort all year long, but especially for this event. So thank you, Lachelle, for all you've done. Coordination and the after party, the celebration on Zoom, March 26th, fantastic. We just did this interview Tuesday. So shameless plug. You can go to Hounds of Business, go and watch this on YouTube, LinkedIn. This lady is extraordinary and you won't be sorry. So thank you, Lachelle. Had to give you love because you work so hard. And a lot of times you don't hear thank you. Okay. And she really had a great kind of preview and segue into this show. That was a stellar interview. So I was so happy to see that. And she's in the comments today, and along with Julie Johnson. She is the founder of Integrate Trauma Informed Network. Licensed trauma therapist. There's a full blown, like, everything. This lady is doing some amazing stuff. So she didn't ask me to do this. I asked her if I could do this. She has done great. So she has been, number one, very supportive. Her leadership is just absolutely phenomenal. She supported myself and the Hounds for years, and she leads with integrity. She is absolutely just one of a kind. And that's why I wanted to give her this spotlight. So I will put the link up. And we had tech issues. It got knocked out. But she's got an event coming up here in June. We'll put the link on my profile as well. And if this conversation resonates with you and this kind of, avenue, keep an eye on our upcoming Signals and Systems Digital Health Summit, June 3rd and 4th. A lot of the mental health aspects, they have apps and all kind of resources. So I wanted to do two things right here, spotlight her as well as her organization. It can really help folks going through a lot of things right now. So those are two amazing leaders and women who are doing major impactful things. Just had to give them a shout out, ladies. That's how we do it. So let's go here. I want to power round. All right. We'll go with Cynthia. Finish the sentence. Midlife is blank.
Empowering and exciting.
There you go. She wrote the book, y'all. Like, there you go.
I don't know if you wanted it to be short and sweet. Is this like a short and sweet response, or do you want me to riff on it?
Oh, whatever you decide is good. I know you're a strong lady. I'm not messing with you.
No. I mean, I think the biggest reframe, and I saw there was someone in the group that's in their 30s, is that, like, my perception of what middle age was when I was younger is very different than what I'm experiencing. So I look at it as it's the time in most women's lives, like when I talk to women and patients, where they feel the most comfortable with themselves. They feel much more, when they use the term settled, I don't mean settled as in they've settled, but they feel comfortable in their shoes, speaking their mind, and not being caught up in what other people think of them. And so I think middle age, midlife is incredibly empowering.
Yeah, we mentioned this before. I think all of you all have touched on this, and I did. I remember, hearing the grumblings in the 80s from my grandma and stuff. So is it a challenge in your all's opinion where it's not so, like, you could just call your mom? Like, is there just such a generation gap where it's just uncomfortable a lot of times to talk to family members because they just didn't talk about it?
My mother has never had a conversation with me about menopause. My mother told me she was 30 years old until I was 30 years old. And then it became a joke. I was like, okay, like, no one thinks. But that generation, at least my mother, incredibly age sensitive and incredibly sensitive, talking about the loss of fertility. To me, I was like, see you later. I don't care. I have no more periods. It's one less thing to worry about. That generation has a lot of shame around aging, and they internalize that, and therefore they're uncomfortable even acknowledging that they're no longer fertile, that they're in menopause. Like, my mother's 80 years old, Mike. She's not a young woman. She does not talk about this at all, ever.
Which
I have
makes
to,
this and the books and everything else that much more special. Go ahead, Lisa.
I'm sorry I interrupted. I would have to completely concur with you. So I'm 60, so I'm older, and I'm adopted. And my parents adopted me later in life because they couldn't get pregnant. And they were born in the 20s. They're deceased now. But talk about not discussing anything like this. My mother would never, ever tell anybody what her age was
Yep.
unless she had to on some kind of medical form. She would not let me know. I mean, it was crazy. And mental illness actually ran in her family. And now after she's passed and now that I'm in the place, I saw it, but it's not only menopause, it's just anything like that has this stigma. It's like, oh no, you sweep that under the carpet. You never talk about that. That's horrible. That's nobody's business but ours, which is a load of crap. And that's why, menopause and perimenopause and the whole thing has gotten such a bad rap.
Yeah.
So, thank you.
That is true.
No,
It's
and
true.
it's
My mom doesn't talk about it either, but I'm not questioned. I get it out. I always get it out. I ask her, "Do you go through this? Have you done this? How do you feel about this?" And I think she's forced to talk about it, which it's a good thing. We can both laugh about it now.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting. So I have all boys, and my youngest is 18, my oldest is 20, and my boys know what menopause is. They know what hormone replacement therapy is, and they were like, this is something that's eventually going to happen to whoever our significant other is, so we need to learn about it. So like this generation is totally destigmatized, and a lot of people I interview on the podcast will say, their kids jokingly say, I'm scared of menopause, because they hear the bad side of it. But then I always remind my boys, I'm like, eventually we're gonna have the hormone high for many, many years, and then we have hormone decline, and then we replace hormones, and then we feel good. And so I'm hopeful that our generation is going to destigmatize it so that there's not as much concern or focus. And I'll just interject one more thing. On social media, the only thing that people rant on me about is, well, you're old. I'm in my 50s, so it is what it is.
You're not old.
No, but I'm saying that's they'll say oh, that's the only thing they can say. And so I'm sometimes humored. I'm like, here is the problem. This contributes and perpetuates why women feel uncomfortable talking about their age and talking about aging. And what's the alternative? And that's what I oftentimes will say is, what's the alternative, guys? Is death. And I don't want that. So this is an inevitable part of living, is that we will suddenly, no longer be young. We will be middle-aged, and then we'll be older. And it is what it is.
Well, I'm not going to let you all get away from your answers, even though that was a nice try. So I'm going to ask it again. But that was great. No. I wasn't stupid enough to stop that. That was the realest talk. Thank you for. And by the way, Cynthia, I have all girls. So I've got 13 and 7.
Well, I was going to say, God bless you, because I think we boy moms get it tough up front, and y'all get it tough in the teenage years with girls. I'll just say that.
Well, but if it's I don't know if it's just me and my Danny Tanner ways. I don't know. But if it's reflective of teenagers now, the stuff she tells me, there's no way I would have told my parents.
Oh, no. My kids tell me everything. I'm sometimes like poker face. Their friends will tell me things. I'm like, oh boy, poker face. Yep. But you want that, right? I totally want that. I told my parents nothing.
We do, but we don't. Like, I'm sitting there going, oh my gosh, I just put her in a bubble and lock her away, and she can't go outside till she's 30 to married. That's what I want to do. But at the same time, if I do that, what's she going to do? She's going to go hide and quit telling me stuff. And so that's another show. We're going to bring Roe and friends on for that one next week with
Roe
parenthood and things. Oh, Dr. Roe, we're going to have her back. So she is amazing. But for this purposes, let me ask the question before I derail this amazing show. All right, Lisa, midlife is blank.
An adventure and self-awareness.
That's you. That should be you on a bumper sticker in general. I like you and you're being modest. Like every time I try to get hold of her, she's like, I'm on another TED Talk. She does like 60 TED Talks a day.
I do not.
Yes, you do. It sounded like it. All right,
I do not.
Jennifer, midlife is blank.
Interesting and fun.
Yeah, I believe it now. Y'all won me over. Okay. My grandma, well, it's her perspective. You all bring a much better perspective, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to close it out with one more thing, and then we want to know. I want to make sure folks know where to go, your website, what you have cooking. Won't be shy. But before I do, Lisa, what's one thing women should stop apologizing for, in your opinion?
For putting themselves first. And that means, setting healthy boundaries, saying no, not people pleasing, which we talked about before, protecting your energy. Don't put yourself in environments that deplete you of energy, whether that's individuals, whether that's toxic social feeds, what have you. And, that includes work gossip too. So never apologize ever for putting yourself first. Don't ever say you're sorry.
I love this. I hear you ladies just saying a common theme, whether it's menopause or before and after. Define success and happy for you. That's just good advice. You ladies have went through it, and you're like, hey, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. I'm gonna do something about it. And before people go, well, they're this and that, did y'all have all the answers, or did you just say, I'm gonna figure it out? I'll do my best, but did you figure a lot of this out as you all went?
Internal resiliency. I'm going to find the answers. That is like at the core of my personality. I'm feisty, and I don't settle. So I'm going to figure it out. Everything is figure outable, as they say.
Yep.
Determination.
Or Leo.
I believe Cynthia is right. Yep.
Yeah,
Where there's
Cynthia,
a will, there's a way.
Yep.
Cynthia is determination personified. There you go. Well, Jennifer, I'm going to go to you, and then I'm going to end with Cynthia. What's one thing women should stop apologizing for?
For being themselves. Stop trying to be somebody else. Own who you are. You don't like it, you're not a golden coin to be liked by everyone.
I'm going to interject real quick, because this just happened, guys. I had to. I know a really up and comer. She's a sharp young lady, and I asked about something, and it took a while. And then the other day she said, I don't want to do that. Even if it's with you, I'd rather do something else. It's really not my thing. And I went, you just set a boundary. Good. Now do it to everyone, right? Like that's cheerleading, right? And this is why we did this show. Like, hey, I'm for you. And I love what you be yourself. Don't perform. Don't try to win everybody over. That is exhausting. And that's so like 1800s. You do you, the right people will lean in. I like her as is. And if somebody doesn't like her as is, well, they can go take a hike, right, Cynthia? And yes, don't try to, and I've done it. I mean, boy, I spent way too much time trying to impress people that I didn't even really care about if I thought about it. So find your tribe. That's why we do these shows, right? If you resonate with folks on the panel in the comments, go talk to them. Right, go start there. Birds of a feather flock together. Cynthia, we're going to end with you before we go around and let all the folks know where they can go and dive in and learn and share. What's one thing, or 5 if you want to give them to, women should stop apologizing for?
Oh, I mean, gosh, taking care of themselves. Like, if you want to go to bed early, if you want to eat real nutrient dense whole foods, if you want to manage your stress and it's more than 5 minutes of meditation once a day, or if you want to exercise. I find far too many women subjugate their needs because of someone else. And so what starts to happen is, again, perimenopause and menopause is this litmus test of how well we take care of ourselves. The women that are succeeding in middle age are the women that are managing their lifestyle choices. And so my whole family makes fun of me because I'm usually in bed at 9 or 9:30. That's what I have to do for me. And when we go on vacation, I still go to bed early. And, not feeling like you have to apologize because you want to take care of yourself. I mean, those are the tenets. All of us are talking about kind of riffing on the same theme, but it's really like, take care of yourself. When you're on the plane and they tell you to put your oxygen mask on first before your kid, it's the same thing applies. And so the sooner that women embrace that, the better off they're going to be. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, major in the majors is what I say to patients all the time before they want to get an Oura ring and they want to get an Ooler and they want to buy all these gadgets. I'm like, no, major in the majors. That'll get you far, far farther than a gadget or, a bright, shiny object.
Oh my goodness. You are amazing. And this is where I wish I can whisper to April. Should I say this? But I can't now. So I'm looking at her facial expression. She's probably not if you just said that. So, and here's my thing. As I hear you ladies talk and all the things, I'm going to go send my wife to the spa. Like sometimes men and people around you, they're not able to do that yet. They're just going to hold it in until they yell. And so now I'm like, if I see that building up, then I can be proactive. Hey, take a break. I can do dishes. I've done them once or twice a year. I can do this today. Is that seriously? Be a support system. If you see, don't get mad. Well, why are you mad? That's, no, don't do that. In the South, that we do that too much. Why are you angry? Well, because I've been doing all this all day and I'm going through stuff you can't understand. So that's what I'm going to do. Take away. Hey, next time I see something, I might just, hey, you go do something fun. I got this, and I think that's what works. So April, she didn't make a bad face. I guess I did okay with that one. She's back there laughing at me now. All right. Well, ladies, Cynthia, let folks know. You have a book coming out. Can they buy it now? Do you have resources, website? Let it rip, please.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure connecting with your community and speaking on the panel. So easiest to go to my website. It's my name, www.cynthiathurlow.com. If you're interested in the menopause gut, it's for women before they get to perimenopause. It's for women after they go through menopause. It is the definitive guide talking all about the gut microbiome, which I argue is the key longevity organ in our bodies. You can also get access to my website where I have my podcast, which is called Everyday Wellness, that myopically serves women in middle age. And I'm active all across social media. I'm actively growing Substack. That's my current pet project. But if you watched me here tonight and you're interested in learning more, please feel free to reach out to me across social media. And yes, pre-sales for the menopause gut. There are lots of pre-sale bonuses that are also available that I'm really excited about. So thank you again for letting me serve your community tonight.
My pleasure. Again, Dr. Rowe, you are amazing. Dr. Roseanne, we will put this in the hounds. We'll put it all over the repost. We'll make sure folks have access to that, my friend. You are brilliant and heart-centered as they come. Thank you for the work you do and your boldness, all you ladies. But Cynthia, you kind of led the charge with this. And, I think a lot of ladies are like, you know what? I'm going to go out there and get it done. So thank you, my friend. Lisa, same thing. You are a powerhouse and yet so graceful. So let the folks know, don't be shy. They'd be mad if I don't tell them. LisaHammett.com. What do you have going on?
Yes. So you can find out about my books. You can also see my TED Talk from there. You can see other speaking engagements, podcasts. And I also have a leadership reset cohort that I do every other month. So the next one will be in May. And it actually pairs with my latest book. And you can find out about that on my website as well as connect with me on social. I have a pretty good sized following on LinkedIn. I am on all the other platforms too. And I think that's it. Thank you so much. This has been amazing.
My pleasure. I mean, I'm going to get the text. I probably already got them. I turned the phone off. So, oh my goodness, I know, because people will stay because they like me sometimes, but they're not going to stay past 8:00 because of me. All right, that's evidence. So thank you. You all made an impact. And last but not least, Jennifer Thompson. My goodness, my friend. Well, I know what you do, but tell folks where they can go. What can they tap into? What kind of things could they explore? How they find your book? Is it out yet or is it pre-sale?
It is out. It's in Amazon. So you just have to type "Who Moved My Estrogen?" And I bet you can find it faster than if you type Jennifer Thompson, because that is the most common name in the world. You're going to get 5,000 and not the right book. So just go through and type "Who Moved My Estrogen?" and you will find it. You can contact me on my email. It's on the screen. And you can go to iammagazine.com as it is on my at the end of my email to find out a little bit more about our magazine. You're going to enjoy. We have 3 different versions. We have a ladies version in English. We have a Spanish version. And now we have the men's division, which Mike writes there along with other hounds, and it is a fantastic magazine. I do invite you all to go take a look, subscribe. Anybody can read it for free, and that is the best part.
It is a great resource, and we'll share this because this cross-pollination, there's a lot of folks that will be like, oh my goodness, I need everything here. So this is why we do it. Collaboration, that it's an understatement. That's it, pushing each other up. So ladies, we're happy to share. Everybody's sharing everybody's stuff. And, you know what matters to me most? That you're trustworthy and honest. That's what you can sell jelly beans. I still promote y'all, and I still be out here pushing you up and telling people the great things about you. And that's how we do it here. So I'm not going to go on and on, folks. Listen, don't forget March 26th. All right. The more, the merrier. It's going to be phenomenal. No infomercials, no bait and switch, just good quality connections, giveaways, getting in the right room and getting a deeper dive with folks about these subjects so you can learn and grow as a professional and as a person. So remember, maybe you're not just starting over, right? Maybe you're stepping into alignment, maybe a new phase, maybe an exciting phase. And that's why the right room matters, y'all. So again, thank you, ladies. Thanks, everyone. You know, we're striving to build influence through clarity, health, and aligned community, not performance. And you ladies were just a perfect guest for that because you were real, honest, and you inspired people. So remember, hashtag She Wins March. Let's join it, share it, be in the right room, folks. Next week, we're going to have another stellar panel. Dr. Roseanne is coming back, so be ready for that. If you missed last week, we had an amazing panel, including another somebody else I think you know, Cynthia, was Crystal Clifton. She was on last week. Yeah, my goodness. And that was a rock star panel. So keep them going. Share it, come out, support, and really be a part of this. So many women are being inspired. So ladies, time to wave. Oh, wait a minute. How rude of me. Look, where's my chivalry at? April Wyatt, I didn't warn you this time. Last time.
No, you didn't. I was in the dark, literally.
That's how rednecks do it. All right. So we will appreciate you. Just wanted to give you that recognition. You do so much behind the scenes, and you have been a good friend to me and so many. So thank you, my friend. We just want to say that.
Thank you for having me, and an honor to be with you, ladies.
Thank you.
Likewise. It's
nice to meet everyone. Have a great night.
Yes, ma'am. All right.
Bye.
Wave. We'll see you on the next one, y'all.
Bye.
Good. Thank y'all for stopping by. Be sure to follow, share, and like, and send me a message if you had fun today. Y'all come back now.